think we all know now that launching into the 1st of January with the biggest plans and the loftiest goals doesn't tend to last past, for me, like 3 weeks. So over the past couple of years, I've made a habit of using any free time in the Christmas period, especially in that like dayless, hourless twilight zone of time between Christmas and New Year's, to get a head start on my habits and really establish goals that I want to become second nature in the year to come. Also, it's a time to reset and to clear the slate, so I'm not bringing any unnecessary baggage with me from one year to another. So here is how I'm prepping for 2024. I'm putting this first on the list because, in my opinion, it is the most important. I know that you're here because you're motivated to start the new year strong and you're ready to make some big changes, big or small, and maybe, like me, you're feeling really driven right now and even excited for a fresh start. But before we get into that, I think it's important to take a moment to slow down. This year has been tough for many people for many reasons, and I think we all have a habit of barreling forward onto the next thing, wanting more, wanting better. Sometimes we just forget to pause, give our minds and bodies a much needed break and just a chance to recenter. So procrastination, if you know me, is like my middle name. I am always doing something that I shouldn't be doing or doing nothing at all instead of the things that I should be doing. And that isn't a restful form of doing nothing, because there's always that like underlying anxiety in the back of my head listing off all the things that I need to get done, deadlines and like tasks piling up, and the knock-on effect that my inactivity is definitely gonna end up having. So instead, I think it's important to make a conscious effort to do nothing and set some time aside to just veg out. Have a day or a few days where you have no commitments. There isn't going to be anything that pops up in your head that you should be doing instead, and just relax in whatever way works best for you. If you want to lie in bed all day binge watching a show, or have a really indulgent at-home spa day, or just go walking with no destination in particular, or have a cheesy movie night and a sleepover with friends, find a way to treat yourself to some time spent entirely switched off. And if you want, use that time or follow up on that time with some reflection. I think giving yourself time to pause really opens up the space in your brain where you can really evaluate where you're at and what you really want. Think, or even better, journal about the year that you've had. Think about what you had in mind for this year, what image you had of how things would go, where you thought you would be by now, and whether you're there or whether that's still somewhere that you want to be, or if the goalposts have shifted. Take some time to be grateful for the little moments that you may have experienced. It's hard to conjure up all the memories of a full year, so go through the pictures on your phone and refresh your memory. Take a look at your own personal highlight reel. I did this earlier and I got to see how much more time I spent with my mum and my sister than I realised, either just chilling at my mum's house or going for lunch. I completely forgot about like the awe that I experienced when I went to St Paul's Cathedral in March and got to see all the beautiful architecture, and even climbed all the way up to the top of the dome, which was exhausting but so worth it for the views across London and all the little decorating projects that I did. A couple of fun nights of karaoke, singing Can't Fight the Moonlight with a friend who I also spent heaps of time with this year rewatching Lost. There were birthdays and holidays and bowling and barbecues, and maybe it doesn't sound like a lot, but after a couple of really hectic years before this one, working on my book and a huge commission, buying a flat and getting married, this year had felt so uneventful in retrospect. But when I took a second look back, I realised that there were still so many more memorable moments, even in the everyday stuff. And if you do feel like something was missing this year, think about how you can go about things differently this time. What were you missing? How can you stay on track with your goals? I recently shared a recap of the goals that I set for myself this time last year and how I managed with them in a video on Patreon, and I wasn't the only one, more or less just taking that list from last year and transferring it to this year because I didn't make nearly as much headway as I planned. So looking at that, I'm approaching my goals differently this time around, really focusing more on habits that will in turn lead to the results that I'm after, and scheduling in time to review my progress throughout the year and see if the strategy needs to change. And I can't help but feel like if I hadn't looked back and just kept pushing forward, I would have just written another list, maybe the same list, encountered the same stumbling blocks, and you would see me this time next year saying the exact same thing. I, quite proudly, have been able to maintain an inbox zero for quite a few years now. Email inboxes are empty, spam folders are empty, unwanted newsletters have been unsubscribed from, the word Temu has been blocked from even entering my inbox, as they probably send me about 20 emails every day, but other ways that I'm going to be digitally decluttering are clearing my desktop and downloads folder, organising and backing up all of my files onto my hard drive, and then backing up my hard drive onto the cloud. I'm going to be clearing the photos, screenshots and notes from my phone, getting rid of any unused apps, and here's the key, scheduling in a quarterly digital declutter where I do all of those things every 3 months so that it doesn't pile up again. Decluttering also doesn't have to be relegated to the digital space, and it doesn't have to be a mammoth week-long task that overwhelms you and makes you want to cry and just shove everything back where it was and never look at it again. You can choose one space, like your handbag, school bag, gym bag, bedside drawer, wardrobe, entryway area, junk drawer, under the bed. Just choose 1 or 2 spaces where you experience the most friction day to day due to its crowding, and have a good clear out, and then note down all of those other problem areas. And if you use a calendar, block in a weekend here or there where you can work on them. Like I have decluttering my kitchen cabinet scheduled in for like the 20th of January, so fun weekend ahead. And the weekend before that, I've made a note in my calendar to buy any organisation gizmos I might need for it, like a Lazy Susan or some spice jars. And if you don't use a calendar, you can decide that on the first or last day of every month or every Sunday, you'll tackle another space. But it's starting small and starting now that's a great way to get that habit underway and appreciate the difference that it can make. Do you know where your money went this year? If not, it could be a good idea to take a look back through old statements or your banking app and get a good look at how and where you were spending. Think about where you may be overspending, what you might want to maybe set some monthly limits on, for example, clothes or skincare or eating out. For me, it is Gorillas, which is like a grocery delivery app that I honestly use almost every day for little things like biscuits or toilet cleaner, or like, oh, we need some cheese, I'll just get back on the app and order it. And I have actually already blocked the app on my phone because I'm not even exaggerating. I probably see one of their delivery drivers, shout out to Billy, more often than I see my own mum. So yeah, it's a problem. Or even if it's just a particular subscription that you don't use that often. I recently got rid of Netflix, at least for a little while. I've combined mine and my husband's Spotify accounts. There's an option called Duo where you can keep your accounts separate but pay a reduced amount together, because I didn't want to like combine. I didn't want my most played songs to go from show tunes to drum and bass. And I've unsubscribed from a couple of apps that I don't use. Think instead about what you want financially this year. Is there something that you want to save for? Do you have some debt that you want to chip away at? Could you even start a little fund for charitable giving? Find the unnecessary spends and intentionally reroute the money that you would usually use on those things towards something that you'll be able to see real progress on at the end of the year. Some other great ways to sort out your finances for the new year would be to look into any insurance you've got, see if you can find a better deal. Same with phone contracts. You might also want to look into switching bank accounts, either for like a switching bonus, a better overdraft, better interest rate. See if you can transfer any debt to a 0% interest card. Honestly, sometimes it's only once you really sit down and think about this stuff and where you can make little changes that you realise that there's money leaving your account that just doesn't have to be. Also optional, but I always finish the year with a review of my income from my work. I look at where the money is coming from, how much, how that's changing year on year. I actually make a video summary about it every year on Patreon if you're interested in seeing that in more detail. But if you are self-employed or just have a side hustle, even if you just want to look at the amount of work you're doing for your job and how you're compensated for that, it's always nice to just get an idea of all of it instead of going from one year to another, just accepting things as they are and not making moves to see if you can maybe improve things. This kind of stuff can be a bit boring. Honestly, I kind of love it because, you know, I would love any excuse to whip out a spreadsheet, but it's one of those things that you can get done in a day if you can commit a day of your Christmas break to it, and then you're sorted for the whole year to come. So, you know, those little tasks that end up being not right now kinds of things, like maybe this weekend, maybe Monday. You might have written a list of them, like a brain dump, or you might just have a mental list floating around in your head. Something pops up and makes you think, oh yeah, I should really book that appointment. Or you look over at the loose, rattly handle on your kitchen cabinet drawers and you think, I really should tighten that up. Not speaking from personal experience, but somehow it never happens. If you don't have a list of those things, make a list now, because I'm sure that once you think about it, there will be at least a few tasks that you've been putting off because it never felt like a convenient time for them. And then choose a day to get through as many as possible. It's so refreshing just to have the slate clear of all of those little tasks, and the magic of a life admin day is that you end up getting into a getting things done kind of mood. There's no question of putting things off till later, because that day is today. I recently had a great life admin day where I hemmed some curtains, I cleaned all the windows and doors in the flat, I sorted through years of paperwork, fixed a shelf in the bathroom cabinet so that our toothbrushes would fit in there, and I think there was even more just one day, and I got through so many things that I just would have carried over with me into the some days of next year. And I actually think I might try and squeeze in one more day of getting things done, because realistically the list is never ending, but making a start now shows you that it's doable and things don't need to be put off forever. Getting into the life admin day habit in December means that come January you're already seeing how successful it can be and you already have the impetus to do it again. I have life admin days scheduled into my calendar about once a month, and I would encourage you to do the same if you do use a calendar. And if you don't use a calendar, like with the decluttering, you could decide that the first Saturday of every month or any other day is the day that you commit to clearing the miscellaneous tasks off the brain dump or to-do list, but get started with it now. I love a daily challenge, you know this, and I promise this isn't just an excuse for me to plug my book, but the reason I love a daily month-long challenge is that it really sets you into laser focus where you can pinpoint one thing that you want to improve on and just work at it within the constraint of a short period of time, start to see real progress and learn and adjust your strategies as you go day by day. A daily challenge gives you days and days of trial and error so that by the end of it you've worked out all the kinks and you have a solid flow through whatever the project is. So it didn't work out for whatever reason one day, okay? You've got tomorrow to try a different way. You ran out of time, adjust the amount you're expecting to get done while also committing to doing at least a little bit. You didn't have the right tools, okay, so you can do some research and figure out ways that you can work without them, or invest in what you didn't realize you needed at the beginning. You're too tired by the end of the day, try squeezing it in the morning or at lunchtime, even if you have to miss a day, if you have family commitments or something unexpected crops up. Even the act of getting back on track is a habit that's worth its weight in gold to master. No more quitting after one failed attempt. You have committed to 30 days of whatever it is, and you can do that. Even if it takes more than 30 days, you can pick yourself up at any hurdle and finish this challenge, especially if you know that all you have to do is finish. And when you're done, you don't have to keep up the amount of time that you're spending committing to this project after that first month, even though you might want to. But what that month has shown you is that it's possible to carve out some times for the things that you want to get better at or spend more time on. And over the course of that month, you'll have probably most definitely improved at whatever it is that you've challenged yourself to do, and that'll hopefully leave you more motivated to continue on with it, even if not so often going forward. So think about what it is that you want to work on next year. It could be reading more, so 30-day reading challenge, learning a new language, like a certain amount of time a day on Duolingo, or in the end knowing like a certain number of words or phrases. For me, it'll be fitness related. I want to walk for an hour every morning for 30 days. You could also find 30-day fitness challenges on YouTube or buy a workout plan from one of your favorite fitness creators. Maybe you just want to drink a certain amount of water every day for 30 days. Of course, if you want to improve your art or feel more creative, my 30-day sketchbook project has daily prompts and exercises that gradually increase in difficulty so you can master some new techniques or mediums, or just take the prompts and do whatever you want with them, just dedicating yourself to making some kind of art every day. But you can also find prompt lists on Pinterest if that's the part that you're more interested in. You might be a writer who wants to reach a certain word count goal by the end of the year, so you cram in a load at the beginning of the year. Or it could be a full home decluttering and deep cleaning challenge that you want to take on. Think about what you want to improve on in the year, and I'm sure you can find a 30-day challenge that goes along with it. The key to a monthly challenge is having a plan in place, scheduling in the time for it, knowing what you might need, gathering resources, making contingency plans for the days that might go awry. So thinking about the least you could do towards this goal on a bad or busy day. And that is why I think getting started with this in December is key. You want to start the year and your new challenge ready to dive right in. You just don't want to fall into the trap of over preparing or feeling like you're not ready to start. The start of the year is a better time than any. And sometimes, as I said, you learn the most through the trial and error of actually getting into it and seeing how what you had planned actually fits into real life. And that wraps things up for me here this year. So I just want to send you all my love, remind you that you matter, and whatever you're doing, you are trying and you're doing great, and I cannot wait to see you in 2024. Thanks for watching.